You felt it. Something small that didn't sit right. You called yourself paranoid. You told yourself this one was different. That instinct was right. Here's what most people get wrong. Red flags in new relationships don't look like danger. They look like passion. They look like someone who really, really wants you. Your brain is flooded with dopamine. In early love, neuroscientist Helen Fisher's brain imaging research showed this mirrors the neural effect of a stimulant high, and dopamine makes you terrible at reading warning signs. These 8 flags are what danger actually looks like when it's wearing the right disguise. 1, they overwhelm you with attention fast. Psychologists studying narcissistic relationships call this love bombing. Intense affection, constant contact, and I've never met anyone like you before week 3. It feels incredible. It's designed to. When someone gives you everything before they've earned it, they're not falling for you. They're building leverage before you've had a chance to see who they really are. Once they have your attention, the first test begins. 2, every ex is a villain. All of them. Crazy, toxic, abusive, impossible. You're the exception. You're finally the one who gets them. That feeling is intoxicating, and that's exactly the point. You're not different. You're next in a pattern. When someone has never ended a relationship where the other person wasn't entirely at fault, the only consistent variable is them. The past tells you where this goes. The pace tells you how fast. 3, they move the relationship faster than makes sense. Soulmate by week 2. Talk of moving in by month 2. I've never felt this way so quickly. Attachment theory research shows that this speed creates the feeling of intimacy without the reality of it. Real closeness takes time. What moves fast isn't love, it's the illusion of love. And illusions are harder to leave than the real thing. Fast love needs fast ownership. 4, jealousy shows up early and it's framed as caring. Checking your phone, mild irritation when you mention a friend they don't know. I just worry about you. Clinical psychologist Lundy Bancroft spent decades studying controlling relationships and found this pattern in nearly all of them. Jealousy doesn't protect you, it owns you. And here's what he also found: it almost never stays where it started. But jealousy isn't the only thing that gets mislabeled. 5, you feel nervous around them, but it doesn't feel like nervousness. It feels like excitement, like chemistry. And you're partly right. Nervousness and excitement feel identical from the inside. But one is attraction and one is your body telling you something is off. Not every flutter is chemistry. Some of it is your nervous system doing its job. And you owe it the courtesy of asking which. And while you're figuring out what you feel, they're already testing what you'll allow. 6, they test your limits with things that seem small. A comment that crosses a line. Then, I was joking. A plan changed without asking you. Then, you're so rigid. Researcher Evan Stark's work on coercive control identifies early limit testing as one of the clearest markers of what a relationship will become. They're not being playful, they're mapping your edges to find out what you'll accept. Once they know your edges, they start moving them. 7, hot and cold, incredible, then distant, no explanation, then back to perfect, as if nothing happened. Psychologist B.F. Skinner identified this as variable ratio reinforcement, the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. Your brain chases the high of the good moments and explains away the bad ones. The confusion isn't a bug, it's the feature. And while the cycle keeps you chasing, the next sign makes you small. 8, you find yourself apologizing for having needs. You bring something up, it becomes about your sensitivity, your insecurity, your issues. You leave the conversation less sure of yourself than when you started. That's not a communication mismatch, that's a preview. Red flags don't wave, they whisper, and they count on you being too hopeful, too kind, or too deep in dopamine to hear them. The relationship that's bad for you rarely feels bad at the start, it feels chosen. If you're watching this, you're already paying closer attention than most people allow themselves to. That's not paranoia, that's self respect, and it's worth building on. Which of these eight just put a name to something you've been sitting with in someone else or in yourself without realizing it? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe to Psychology Gently, and we translate the complicated stuff into something you can actually use.